Hey, we're learning to live one day at a time together with God and to take a great thought into the day. And the thought for today is you are as sick as your secrets. So in the interest of authenticity and rawness, we have gotten a very expensive studio. Actually, this is my car. Actually, this is my wife's car. And this is my friend Rick Blackman, and we are in Ventura. And I was thinking we might be able to take this outside because there's ocean, but it's way too windy. It's not going to work. So we're improvising this studio. I'm with Rick partly because it's just been his birthday. And I will not tell you which birthday it was. I would not have missed it, but people in the Social Security Administration are a little bit poor now. But Rick and I were just talking about the fact that you have now seen, you were saying, approximately maybe 60,000 hours worth of
maybe something like that.
Clients in therapy. Mm-hmm. So you're world class 6 times over. And this expression, inviting us to step into being known, and the fact that when we hide, something gets wrong inside of us. You're only as sick as your secrets. What does that make you think about? Do you think that's true? How do you see that play out in lives of people as you're with them?
It's a recovery idea. I think that you hear that in the recovery world. And the thing that instantly, you did a thing last week on emotions, John, and you talked about that own your emotions, observe, welcome, and name. And one of the thoughts I had after listening to that is this thing that I'll say to clients in my office: what you name, you can tame. So bringing something out, whether it's an emotion, helps us to manage it and regulate it. And I guess that'd be my first thought about secrets too. Things that are hidden, that are traumatic, or that for whatever reason that we don't want to share, if we can name them with, some maturity and some prudence probably, then that helps tame it, I guess. That helps to put it in the right perspective. That helps for the purposes of healing. It's uncomfortable. That I've always liked this idea: can you tolerate discomfort for the purpose of growth? And that feels right around the secret idea.
That's actually another saying coming up in the future that I'm super excited about for
like
discomfort. So hang on to this.
Okay.
I was thinking as you were saying that, it's a deeply biblical thought. If you think about when the fall happened, when humanity became broken, the immediate response was God comes to be with Adam, and Adam's response is, I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and so I hid. So there's something about hiddenness and a sense of guilt or shame and wrongness that goes very, very deep in the story of the scriptures.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about how you went through the 12 steps with us over Lent, and that 4th or 5th step about the fearless moral inventory and finding somebody to share those things with. That's just such a powerful part of moving forward and healing. The other thought, John, that I've just had is when you think of going through something traumatic, which people will often repress or suppress or not want to talk about or keep secret. If you look at research that talks about healing, what are the elements of healing in things that have been traumatic and really painful? Integrating the past, the difficulties of the past into your story. Sometimes the way that I'll think about it is getting fluent with your own story, which is taking what was hidden and bringing it to the surface. Obviously, again, with responsibility is part of healing. Integrating and differentiating, is the second part. But that first part is, in some ways, always the hardest part.
It's so interesting in this last year and a half when it's been such a difficult season for me. One of the things that I found early on was that I needed to, not just with you, my very closest friends, but even with a larger circle of folks, tell the story. And it took about 45 minutes. It was always painful. I never wanted to do it.
Yes.
But I just had this sense I need to do this without even fully understanding why. And down the road a bit, it feels kind of like I had my tonsils out when I was 30 years old, which is not a great time to have your tonsils out.
Yeah, I was 5.
Oh, good for you. I'm so happy for you. Look at me. I'm Rick. I was 5.
I just remember the ice cream.
Yeah. But I remember the doctor saying, you'll wake up in the middle of the night really parched, and it'll feel like knives in your throat. It'll really hurt to swallow, but you'll actually heal faster if you're swallowing. So swallowing.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's
It's
good.
painful, but also healing. And telling the story I found was kind of that way. It was embarrassing. It was humbling. I would be anxious. What is this person going to think of me? But somehow, like you were saying, it seems like there was something integrating about it. Like I was able to absorb the trauma and pain of this into my life. As people are thinking about this now, Rick,
The irony, John, too, is when you would share that stuff, having been one of the recipients and knowing others, do you ever get a bad response from people when you share that?
Almost never.
Yeah.
Almost
by
never.
and large,
Yeah.
that's, I guess, my point, is
yeah.
that it certainly doesn't make people recoil from you.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's like I'm afraid to share it because I'm afraid of what people will think or how they will respond. But
And there may be some exceptions, and that's a real. I like that you hesitated, John. So there maybe isn't, but by and large, the thing that I'm worried about when I reveal secrets or share openly things don't happen.
Yeah.
That usually get a different.
Yeah, no, we've
response.
talked about there's a difference between privacy, which is a good thing, and isolation or hiddenness, which is a bad thing. So for anybody listening, it doesn't mean that you necessarily tell everybody everything.
Right.
And to guard privacy is a good thing, but isolation and hiddenness creates a problem. For people who are thinking about that, mostly right now, we're not talking about a giant secret, although that may be part of what's festering in you, but cultivating generally a spirit of openness and disclosure. And we were both talking about in our lives, the people in our lives, and like I'm married to somebody who just tends to be a very open person, and I admire that quality a lot. For somebody who's listening and thinking, I've got secrets, I'd like to tell them to somebody, but I don't have anybody that I trust enough, or I'm not sure who I should do it with. What have you learned about how do people look for someone who is trustworthy if they're going to tell their secrets to?
The first thing I guess I would try to assess is whether the person I might consider doing that with, and of course it could be a counselor, it could be a pastor. It'd be awesome, obviously, for it to be a friend and then to build a network of friends that you can do that regularly with. But are they non-judgmental? I think if I'm going to share something with you, even if you and I, and we do, share the same standards, you certainly are not afraid to call me out on something, and I love that about you. But my first feeling when I share something painful or difficult or hidden with you is almost always acceptance. You don't sound shocked. Now, maybe internally you are.
Oh my
but
gosh!
I don't
Rick
get
has
that
told
feeling.
me things that would curl your hair.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to look for is someone who maintains their calm, and I don't need somebody to drop their standards and think that whatever I'm sharing must be right or want to lead me astray or that sort of thing. But I guess in my world we call it emotional safety.
It's
Is
so
somebody
interesting.
safe.
As you were saying that, I hadn't made this connection, but I was just reading in that book, You Are Not Your Brain, that we should be with ourselves very non-judgmental about our thoughts and our feelings because we're not in control of them. They just come.
Yes.
But actually quite rigorously judgmental about our actions. In other words, shall I do this or should I not do this? I actually want to be thinking about would it be a morally good
So
thing to
good.
do or morally bad thing to do. And in a similar kind of way, if I'm sharing something with you, it's a thought or a feeling or a deed that's already happened, so I can't control that. And to have it be received in a spirit where I know you still love me and you're not judging me.
And it's one of the reasons about sharing secrets is that not sharing them, people are so sometimes terribly self-critical. And they're very judgmental of themselves. And so the way I think that a secret sort of worms its way in our inner world and our inner life is another one of the big reasons, finding someone to to reveal that and share that. And anyway, John, I was telling you this on our walk. I don't know if this is exactly right, but I kind of think secrets are bound to come out at some point anyways. I'm sure some people die with their secrets, but mostly they come out. And that feels like an orienting thought that I want to just have in life. It's going to come out at some point anyways, which maybe could be sort of a regulator of my actions anyways. But so why not share them?
2 statements in scripture. One of them is, be sure your sin will find you out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
It always happens internally, if nothing else, but it has a way of breaking the surface. And then the statement that Jesus made, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free.
That's so good. Yeah.
And I remember when we were learning how to practice therapy together, one of the principles that we were taught, and it turned out to be true, and a very small number of therapy sessions ever actually did, which is if somebody had a bomb to drop, it would almost always come in the last 5 minutes of therapy.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
And is that mostly because people are just afraid?
Yes, they're afraid. Yeah. And then they want to tell you, which is still an act of courage.
Yes.
And slip out the door. And then maybe we can talk about it next time. That's so common.
Yeah. Anything else you'd want to say as people are thinking about that? Be sure, or not be sure, you're only as sick as your secrets.
I would really love for them to just focus on that last sentence of Jesus that you just mentioned about the truth
set you free,
setting you free.
Yeah.
It's just so right.
Well, I've experienced that a ton in my life with you, and I'm very grateful for it. And I hope that you do too. As you walk through this day, just be thinking about, maybe it's thanking God for the people that you can share your secrets with. Maybe it's asking God, would you send me somebody like that? Maybe it's just small disclosures of, not a train wreck, but I made this mistake, or I said something wrong, and I just want to be set free, so I'll tell that truth to somebody else. Secrets can really, really make you sick. So don't walk around with any today. And I will see you tomorrow.